Hello and welcome to Building the Premier Accounting Firm. This is Roger Connect. I'll be your host, and we're going to be talking about things that you can do personally and professionally to literally work on your business and build the premier accounting firm in your area. The intent of this is basically helping you have the successful accounting, bookkeeping, and tax business you deserve. This podcast is actually dedicated to helping you implement the strategies that you need to focus on to market and sell your services with confidence, to provide the quality accounting services that your clients need and deserve, and lastly, do so efficiently and effectively so that you can do so profitably and get paid what you're worth. So I invite you to listen to the episodes and actually subscribe to the podcast to make the most of this experience. Today, we're going to actually do something a little different than normal. I'm actually going to take some time to speak to you about something that's very important to me that literally changed my life years and years ago, and it was a mindset shift, and it really comes from the principles of gratitude. And so what I'm hoping you can do is actually take a moment and listen in on this as I share with you some of the transformational things that I experienced in my life and see how they can actually impact yours. Now, I'm doing this in the context of this year. We've been dramatically affected individually, professionally from COVID and its basic quarantining and shutting down of the economy. And in the process, I think a lot of us have experienced new relationships or changes in the relationships that we have. Some people, it's been that we've quarantined with family members for days and days, weeks and weeks on end, and it's perhaps impacted our relationships, hopefully for the best. But it's also impacted our professional relationships, moving from having opportunities to meet with them in a live setting at their office or our own, and doing so remotely. And so a lot of the dynamics that exist around our professional and personal relationships have changed. But lastly, I want to talk about our own mental health. It's the perspective, the perception that we come to life with every day and deal with each of these circumstances that we're experiencing. So just sit back, take a moment, and maybe have a pen and paper handy to take down some notes on this, because I'm going to share with you my journey and some of the things that I've learned over the years that have helped me have a better positive outlook personally and professionally on things. So first of all, let me begin by going back literally decades ago when I was in my late teens and early 20s, and I happened to be at that time very, very pessimistic. I thought it was cute. I thought it was fun. I was what I thought people wanted to hear, the devil's advocate. I would always do the worst case scenarios. And I could see in situations how the situation could be a problem, or I wouldn't see the good in it or the potential. I'd rather see the challenge or how it could actually hurt someone. And really, at the time, I didn't recognize it. But for a lot of people, it's just one of those I was one of those people that I don't know that you necessarily always wanted to be around. Now, don't get me wrong. I had friends and I did a lot of great things and I was doing well in school and so forth. But I did have that tendency to actually dwell on the negative, and it caused me to be depressed at times, and it really didn't give me a sense of success. I wasn't feeling as if I was anyone special. I wasn't feeling as if I was going to do anything significant in life. I was just ho-hum about things. And as I look back and reflect on who I was at that time in my life, I really do think I understand why I was that way. But I really didn't understand that there was any other way to look at life until in my late 20s, I was introduced to some friends and some individuals that really changed my life for the better. And I don't want to detract from really how much they impacted me, because they did actually introduce to me some mind-changing, some perspectives that really made me a better person, someone that can now contribute to society, someone that could help and motivate individuals in their lives. And I'm going to share a lot of that with you today. So the first thing I want you to understand is that evolution was quite jarring for me. I was quite indifferent to changing. It's not that I wanted to, but I was introduced to some books in my early 20s that really made a big difference for me. It was such books as, I'm sure you're familiar, Greatest Salesman in the World, by Og Mandino. It was Think and Grow Rich, Napoleon Hill. A lot of the things that I'm sure you're familiar with. One book that really impacted me was another one that was written by Dale Carnegie, How to Win Friends and Influence People. There was another book that really changed my life as to thoughts and how to think. I ended up reading later on in my later 20s, Psycho-Cybernetics, an excellent book, really deep book as to how the mind works. Read books that really, I think, made a difference in how I saw life and, more importantly, experienced life. And I'm going to share some of these things with you because as I'm going through these books, I'm hoping that these are ones you're familiar with. I'm hoping that they're ones that you've maybe read. And if so, you're going to be in a great position because as I remember reading each of these books, one in particular that was popular a few decades ago called The Secret, and then later a book called The Law of Attraction, I saw that there was this whole new way of living and experiencing life. And over a number of years, I was fortunate to go from being a pessimist to being an optimist. I started to see the good in people. I started to see the opportunities in life. I started to see really the blessings around me. But it all led to something that is very significant. And it's why I'm doing this today. And it's why I'm doing this around the Thanksgiving holiday. And it's the power of gratitude. Gratitude was, I would like to say, the strongest element from all these books and all of these things. If I was to look back in hindsight, 2020, and say what was the thing that really made the biggest difference, it was gratitude. I'm going to share with you the things that I feel I now appreciate and value, and how I look at life, and hopefully give you some perspectives that you can now apply in your own life. Because one of the things that I really want to stress is, having lived in a third world country myself, having had people come to me with thoughts of depression and suicide, having experienced some of those things years and years ago, it's much better on this side of the fence. It's much happier. It gives life purpose. It allows you to benefit or bless other people in their lives. And it's something that I hope you can experience. And if you're currently in a position where life isn't exhilarating, where life is humdrum, if you're in a position where life is where you're taking rather than giving, I want you to listen in and really take to heart some of the things that I'll be sharing with you today. Now, before I begin, there is one last thing that I'd like to just share, and it's the context of the difference between sympathy and empathy. Sympathy is when you look at situations or other individuals and you have a heartfelt, sincere, genuine interest in things improving, things being better, things being different. And that sympathy is, I can see that this isn't ideal. I can see that this could or should be better, and I wish you the best. Empathy is, been there, done it. I've been in that situation and I've experienced it. I've come out of it. I'm on the other side of it. You too can survive. And I think this is so relevant when it comes to things such as death and divorce and unemployment, trials in relationships. When you have somebody that has sympathy for your situation, or when you're able to offer sympathy, there's something that's very helpful there. It's nice to know you're not alone. But when empathy comes into play and you're in a situation where empathy, you're talking to someone that is on the other side of what you're experiencing, and you can hear, these are the best practices. This is what helped me get through the situation. This is what I would suggest you consider doing so you don't make the same mistakes I did. I'm going to listen because they've been on that other side. And conversely, when you're in a position having gone through it yourself and you're working with individuals and you're able to say, this is what I did, this is what I wouldn't do, they're able to listen with a great deal of more interest because they know that you've been there and done that. And so I really implore you, when you look at the challenges you're facing, understand that this is your opportunity to survive what you're experiencing. And on the other side, now be able to help others through empathy. And I can't emphasize enough, when you look at challenges that we face, when you see difficulties as you go through them as experiences that you're going to now be able to bless others with and through, your whole perspective of what life's throwing at you changes because you're now more excited to get through the experience and know that you can do this. As old as I am now, which I'm not that old, I'm only 50, so perspective as it is, I've come to learn that all things do in fact pass. This too shall pass. And there's hope in the sense that I've lived through some trying things, but at the end of the day, I can now see, you know what, when the next trial arises, I can get through this because I've been there, done this, and I've had difficulties. So all of this is to set up now what we're going to be talking about with regards to gratitude. So this is essentially a journey that I've been on that I'd like to share with you and hopefully help you see what you too can use from these principles to make your life better and, more importantly, bless those around you. So the first thing I want to challenge you with is having a journal. If you have some way to record each and every day a list of the things that you're grateful for, you'll find that this journal is going to become invaluable to you. The journal is a way of recording basically the things that today are important to you. And I usually, at the time, would try to make a list of at least 10 items. These 10 items are things that you're grateful for here and now. Today, I've limited the list now. I do 3 a day. And every day I begin by just addressing at least 3 things that I'm grateful for. And the reason why the journal is so important is because not only are you documenting and writing it down, but in hindsight, you're able to later on pick up this journal and look at days, months, years ago, and literally see, I forgot about that. That's so important. I remember that was so important to me then. And I'm so grateful for that now, to look back and realize that. So writing it down allows you to build off of all these things that you're grateful for, and allows you to compound this. And honestly, it will inside of you swell up something that will actually be sustaining as you go into different trying things that you may experience in your life. So with regards to this, you count your blessings, and every day you begin by just quickly stating what those are. Now, for me personally, I've taken it beyond just writing it in a journal. I actually now have it part of my morning prayers, whether you do affirmations or you do declarations. In my case, I do a prayer and I give my thanks. And it's in there that I also state my gratitude and give it to my maker. And in that process, humble myself to recognize that there are things in my life that I'm perhaps not as in control of, but I am the recipient of. I'm blessed with that. And so, really, with this journal, I encourage you to actually take and record it. Now, some people may say, that sounds daunting. Well, it is daunting. It's meant to be daunting. I want you to take deliberate, intentional effort to do this. Now, we're going to be talking about some things that are great or are important for the gratitude. The first thing is you need a trigger. You need something physical that helps you get into this mindset of having gratitude. The journal can be, in fact, that sense of gratitude that you wake up and you see it on your nightstand, you see it on your dresser. It's in a place that you see it on a regular basis, and you quickly jot things down. And as a trigger, it's going to remind you to take a moment and pause and recognize what you're grateful for. To begin your day and go into this mindset of what you're grateful for, I think is huge, because it puts you in the right mindset to now remember the things that you're grateful for and consider them throughout the rest of the day. So that's, as a journal, a great trigger. Some people will actually take and get what's referred to as a stone, a rock. I've done this in the past. I remember once when I was young, I was introduced to having what's called a prayer rock. You would take this thing. It's not too big. I mean, less than a golf ball, less than an egg. And you take and set it in your pillow, in the pillowcase, and every time you'd go to bed, you would be reminded before you got too comfortable, oh yeah, there's this rock in here. I need to remember, I need to give my thanks and give gratitude for the things in my life and record those in my journal. So that's a great thing. Other triggers can be different things, such as I now have an alarm on my phone. It goes off every day at the same time. And it just basically says, record your gratitude. And with regards to that, I write down these things and I record them. Why? Because this is important. It's going to keep you in a positive mindset. Now, as for the things to give thanks for, let me just give you a few things that I'm grateful for. And there's no significance to this order, but I think you'll appreciate this. And particularly at this time of Thanksgiving, I think this is relevant. The first thing is, it's people in your lives, the relationships that you have. And I want you to think of 3 types of relationships. that you can express gratitude for. And I want you in this process, I want you to have pictures of these people. This is something that when you can visually see them makes it much more relevant, and you're able to, I think, connect a little bit more to your emotions as you think of them. First is family relationships. Right now, I am sitting in the bedroom of my youngest daughter, who this last Saturday was wed. And in that marriage ceremony, took that next step in becoming a young woman as she is. And as she starts her family with her husband, begins this new chapter in her life. Well, I'm sitting in her bedroom that is now nearly vacant. It's got a few things from her wedding and wedding reception. Because of the circumstances, her wedding reception is being pushed off. Her wedding was actually affected numerous times, locations changed. Very dramatic experience with everything going on. But here I can see 3 pictures that she had displayed at her wedding, and it's her and her husband. And I look at her and I just think so much of who she is, who she's become. I've got 3 children, a son and another daughter. I think the world of them, who they've become as adults, their goals, their drives, their ambitions. They are people that I'm proud to say are my children, that I'm associated with them. There's so much that I can express in gratitude. And I'm not going to give you my gratitude list right now, but with that, I've got my spouse, watching our children grow up, and we're nearing, it's possibly months away that we're going to become empty nesters as my son moves out and gets a place of his own with some friends. I can definitely tell you that this is something that when you look at familiar relations, there's a lot to be proud of. I've been blessed by them in my life, and I'm so proud of who I am as a father and as a husband. Now, with that being said, I think the second type of relationships you need to consider are your friend relationships. Those key individuals in your life that you use to do activities with, spend time with, and more importantly, the ones that you lean on sometimes for the support that you need. Who are these people? Why are you so grateful for them? How have they impacted your life? Can you really share this? And more importantly, have you told them this? Have you shared this as to why they are so important in your life? Do they know how much they mean to you? And with these friends, one of the things that I want to stress is, do they understand how you see them? Now, with regards to the friends that I have, I've got a group of guy friends where we have regular outings that we do at least once a month, if not more frequently. We get together, we do guy things. They're part of a book club that I now have. They're actually ones that I do activities with, where we go out and do trips and do extracurricular things. It's a group of guy buddies. And fortunately for me, and it's purely coincidental, is all the wives love and enjoy one another and have their own bond and friendship. And the women go and do their own things on a regular basis. And fortunately, we're able to do couple things together. And our families are close enough that over the last 3 years, we've actually done family activities, family vacations. In fact, I've got a trip that's scheduled. We're crossing our fingers and hoping that it will happen, where we're going to Orlando and spending times together with our families, where all the children get together. It's amazing what we've been able to build over these years because of the commitment we've had to one another. We've helped each other through trying times. We've been there for one another, both as couples and as friends and our children. This is amazing. And I think from a gratitude point of view, it's something that I'm so proud that we've been able to create and develop over the last number of years. The third element of relationships happens to be professional. It's the people that have helped you accomplish the things in your career that you have. It's the coworkers that you work with. It's the boss that you had that's a mentor. I've got, fortunately in my life, some phenomenal bosses who mentored me, who literally took it upon themselves to help me grow professionally, personally. And it's to them that I'm able to thank my career, because I've been a better employee, a better person, because of what they were able to train me on. Realize as employers, there are times where they don't have to train you on what it is that you need to do. They can just expect it of you. But to invest as an employer and having you go through trainings and meetings and help you become who you are now, that's huge. And I have a particular mentor from many decades ago. I can't even remember. It's possibly going on 25 years. His name is Marv Curtis. I can't tell you how much he impacted me in the weekly meetings that he had. He started the meeting with a joke. He started the meeting with a thought of the day. We did a book club element within the meeting where we read a number of very important books, many of which were management books and business books. From that, he introduced me to concepts related to accounting. He taught me principles of what are called presuppositions, how people who are successful perceive situations. I've used those principles and those things throughout my career. I've tailored meetings after what he taught me a meeting should be, and I can't explain how much he's influenced me over my life simply because of what he took time to do as a manager to, with his management team, train us. The predecessor to my role here as president of Universal Accounting Center, Alan Bostrom, so many things that he taught as he ran the company and was president of the company to help me become now the president that I am and take the business to that next level that I've been able to accomplish at Universal. That's been so much more success and a whole new chapter, now being the third president of the company. What can you do in your life to recognize for yourself these three individuals? The family members that you have that are so special to you, the friends that you have that are precious to you, the colleagues and mentors that you've had in your life professionally. These are ones that you need to express your gratitude for. And what's really helpful is, again, having the pictures of each. Now, as you go through this, just realize that what I'm sharing with you isn't meant to be done in a single sitting. This isn't something you just do right now. But let me share with you the next, and it happens to be health. Health is amazing to me. There are so many things that are so subtle in our lives that we can give gratitude for that we take for granted. Just the mere fact of waking up in the morning, breathing, seeing. I actually have a friend who's a quadriplegic and literally he's numb 95% of his body. Many of you may know him because of some of the things that we've been doing recently. His name is Chad Hymas. Chad has a phenomenal story, but his optimism, his view of life, even when he's in that setting, he no longer sees him as being limited. He, in fact, oftentimes will refer to people who have functionality of their entire bodies and having their limbs as being more limited than he is, even though he's confined to the wheelchair and dependent upon so many people. I've had the opportunity to get him out of his chair into driving his view. He drives a van. He's a quadriplegic. Amazing. Don't ask how, but yes, he is on the road. I get him into his chair. We lift him up the stairs where it's not easily accessible. There are numerous times where he has, in his situation, been dependent upon my assistance, but it's me who's benefited from this. With regards to health, I can't tell you, I've got so many people who, because of age or because of life choices, have been impacted in their lives. I've got a friend who lost two of his fingers. In fact, I would consider him one of my best friends. He was in his home doing some projects in his garage. He had a table saw that he was working on. He, for a quick moment, glanced away from the project that he was working on and sawed off two of his fingers and cut the third and lost it. Family wasn't home. Obviously, you can imagine the scene. But today, when you see him, when he's doing anything, he's a mechanic. He's a handyman. And what he's been able to, over time, adjust to being able to do with 3 digits is phenomenal. I mean, and he never complains about it. In fact, they actually have a day every year where they celebrate him losing his fingers. It's the anniversary or a day of his losing his fingers, and they do a big thing out of it. His wife does it. The kids get involved. It's a humorous thing to watch. But one of the things that he recognizes is he's who he is because of that experience. He's a better man because of that. Why? Because of the empathy he now can bring to other people that experience these things, and he can show them that, in fact, life does continue and you can be happy. And Chad's the same way. These are people that may be extremes, but it's people that, for example, when you look at what's going on in your life, what can you be grateful for when it comes to your health? So lots to be said there. Let's take a moment and now talk about things that you can be grateful for from your childhood, things that you experienced that allowed you to become who you are. And in that childhood experience, it's your upbringing, it's the experience, it's the schooling. It's what are you grateful for from your past that's allowed you to become the man or woman that you are? And related to that, I want to talk about money. Um, Sometimes people have unhealthy relationships with money. And what I want you to do is be grateful for what you get. And when you get money, I want you to understand that it's through that you're able to provide in today's economy. It's what you're able to use to buy the food that you eat. It's to pay for the home that you live in. It's to pay for the expenses that you have, the travel, the vacation if you can. It's how you afford to take care of those people that are important in your life, such as your children. It's allowing you to buy the many amenities that you have in your home, such as maybe your phone or your bike or your car. It's giving you the ability to pay for the clothes you're wearing. So whether you have a lot or a little, look at what you have and be grateful for the fact that money has provided you this ability to acquire this. You've been able to work or been gifted monies, and in exchange for that, get the things that you now have in your life. And I want you to look around, and these material items, not be covetous of the material items, but the material items that you have in your life, I want you to be able to see them as these are things that you're blessed with to make your life comfortable. My wife and I, for the last little while, have had this interest in watching some series that are on Prime and Netflix and Stars and all these other, where the series take place back in early European eras and so forth. And it's watching stories that relate to the early kingdoms and so forth. Well, the reason why I bring this up is the lifestyle I live today is far better than someone living in the elite of the elite merely 100, 200, 1,000 years ago. You could be the kings and the princes. You could be the oligarchies and so forth. You could be the wealthiest of the wealthiest. And yet the amenities I have with running water, electricity, with plumbing, with a refrigerator, with a freezer, all of these things, with heat. It's going into the winter months here. And here I am experiencing heat as it's cold outside. I've got a vehicle that I can easily get into and go where I want, when I want. And in my travels, I can be somewhere that used to take literally 26 miles a day in walking would be huge. It would take typically a day to walk 5 to 10 miles, and I can drive 5 to 10 miles in minutes. That's huge. Just recently, I went on a road trip with my son, and we went to see a business client of ours, and it was in Sheridan, Wyoming. Phenomenal trip. It took 9, almost 10 hours to get there. It was driving the entire time, but we had fun. We listened on the radio. These are things that I just am so grateful for. I used to travel quite a bit. This last year hasn't been as adventurous in my travels, but I am so grateful for the amenities that allow travel so nice. So with that in mind, kind of keep in your journal a perspective of those things. The next thing that I want to share with you is something that I think is really important, and it's basically the blessings that you have where you can express gratitude for the job that you're doing. If you happen to be unemployed, it's grateful for the support you have. Or if it's that you're unemployed, it's possibly the opportunities that are going to present themselves shortly. Regardless, I want you to basically see yourself as a contributing member to society and how you get to be part of that greater good, how you can actually be a part of the economy and help things go around. If you're in a position where you actually employ people and you have staff, think of the success that you have and also the blessings and benefits they each have as you employ them and give them the compensation you do for their time and their skills. All of these things come from your ability to be a great leader or a great business owner. That's huge. And so, what I want you to do is have a grateful composure about yourself by saying, I am so grateful for, and mention the people that bless you in the job or the role that you have as to how you earn the money that you do. The next that I want to share out there is basically this idea of the how can I say it? It's kind of the ripple effect of life. It's the decisions that people have made that have impacted you for the better. I look at my grandparents, the choices that they made as they lived their lives and ended up living where they did. I look at with regards to something that's very important to me. Here in the United States, I'm very appreciative of the founding fathers and a lot of the sacrifices they made as they did the Declaration of Independence, wrote the Constitution, did the revolution as they did, and gave up literally worldly goods, if you will. They gave up their treasures and all of this for us. And I'm grateful for that. I look at the veterans. Just recently, it was Veterans Day, and there's so many people that, as veterans, literally gave the ultimate sacrifice, their lives, for us to have the liberties and the freedoms that we share. There is a lot of stress out there in society, things that people would refer to as tensions. I want to see past those and honestly just recognize the good in everyone, because I do believe that this society we live in, as hard as it is so much better than it was 10 years ago. It's so much better than it was a decade ago, simply because of the conversations we're having and the sensitivities that we share for one another. So I just look at people that aren't necessarily friends of mine or associates of mine. It's just society as a whole. I'm just so grateful for the blessings that I have to live in the country that I do and to have the freedoms and liberties that I am able to share. So lots to be grateful for there. With regards to another principle of gratitude, I want to just basically express gratitude in my life for the things that maybe not everyone is willing to acknowledge. And it's basically nature. It's looking out and around and seeing the beauty of the day, whether it's raining or sunny or snowing. I love God's creation and just the simplicities of things, the beauty of the flower, the greenness of the grass, the fall leaves, the colors that are so vibrant in life. I live in a place where I'm near a national park. I'm 15 minutes away from a national park, and in 15 minutes I can be up the canyon, experiencing the stream and the nature, the animals, the trees. And it's something that I love to do. And why? Because I get out of that urban environment. But even with the nature and the surrounding things, it's just the simple blue sky that is so, I think, peaceful and comforting to me. So if you can see in nature around you, the animals, and count your blessings with regards to that, I think that would be huge. The other thing that I'd like to just kind of share here is with regards to all of these things of gratitude, I want you to think for a moment about your future, the opportunities that are available, the potential that you have with the friends, the family, the support, the liberties and freedoms that we share, the potential that you have. I want to have you be grateful for, as I am, for the opportunities that life brings us. With all of this, I'm hoping to, in this episode for this podcast, share with you some of the things that really do make a big deal to me in my life. Having that mindset, that idea of gratitude that honestly, I feel is what allows me to experience the successes that I do, to have the conversations with the people that I have, to literally help others make the most of their circumstances, because I'm coming from a position of abundance. I'm happy. And I think it's for that reason that I'm drawn to other people that are happy, that see life in a positive way. I'm drawn to people that, like me, want to make the most of any situation, that want to experience and live life. That to me is huge. And so, like your circumstances, realize that you're drawing to you people that are like you. And so we are the sum total of the 5 people we spend the most time with. So let us be for everyone else that positive influence. Let us be that person that can see the positive or the optimism in a situation. May we, during the times of Thanksgiving and the holidays, be able to reflect upon the many things that we're blessed with. And there's so much more than I could share, but I wanted to just give you a perspective of what you can be doing in your life by using a journal to record the things that you're grateful for, at least 10 things a day, and how your mind will shift over time to really appreciate those things. I did earlier this year a 28-day challenge with a number of people. The 28-day challenge was literally to write down for 28 days straight these things. And if you missed 2 days, you had to go back to the beginning. So you had to start all over the 28-day exercise. So missing 1 day was fine, but if you missed 2, you had to start all over. So it gave you good reason to not fall behind. But at the end of the 28 days, I really feel that that experience once again rejuvenated me and helped me see around me things that I just wasn't noticing anymore. I was more present because of this. I was present enough to smell the flowers, to notice the honeybee. I was able to see the person in the room that maybe was alone that needed to be spoken to and go sit with them and talk to them. It was noticing the person that didn't seem themselves today, and I was able to go and just kind of find out what's going on, what's changed, what's different, what can I help with. It was noticing somebody that was on fire and just had all this energy to go over and find out what's going on, what's so exciting, and become part of that excitement. There are so many things that I want to encourage you to recognize and give thanks for. And so this is my last thought, my challenge to you. During the holiday seasons, during Thanksgiving and so forth, before the end of the year, as you reflect on this year, don't get sucked into all the problems, all the things that have been taken away, all the changes. Don't get sucked into reflecting on what you no longer have and can or can't do. What I want you to do is reflect on those blessings, those things in your life that you have control over, those things in your life that you, in fact, are grateful for, that make you the person that you are. I want you to be grateful for the things that really in the coming year will empower you to make the most of every situation, the most of every relationship, the most of any environment that you find yourself in, because you'll be able to find the positive because you have a gratitude mindset. And with that in mind, I want you to now be, for those around you, a light. I want you to be that calm, peace, reassuring that this too shall pass person that people can be drawn to, and when with, realize that things are going to be okay, because when they're with you, things are all right. And if you need that person in your life, find them. Find that individual that can be, in fact, that shoulder to cry in, that one that can empower you and bolster you up, give you the encouragement, tell you that you are that special person that you are, and then you're going to do just fine. I know that this is a slight diversion from what we typically address as we're talking about building the premier accounting business, but I do want to tell you it is relevant. When you consider that your clients are turning to you and trying to find basically the optimism in situations, you need to be that optimist. I've worked with many clients this year, whether it be the PPP loans or dealing with laying off employees or dealing with pivoting and changing workflow, working with their employees from home, dealing with situations where they couldn't sell certain products or services any longer. Changes happened this year, but to be able to say, we can figure this out, we're two grown, intelligent people, we can work on this together, working with your clients so that they can see that you do have optimism and you do see potential. That's the entrepreneurial spirit. That's the drive that allows us to actually work as entrepreneurs and find the successes that we need. So I do feel that everything that I've shared with you today is relevant. I do feel that it's very important. I feel that it is a huge part of my own success, my own happiness, and it's something that I'm happy to have shared with you. I hope that you've learned a few things and perhaps even took some notes as to what you can be doing to apply these principles in your life. If you happen to be or know someone who is a pessimist, there is hope. You can switch. There is a better side. Come over to the other side. Be an optimist. See the potential in life. Enjoy life. Live life. See the blessings that we each have in our lives and be able to count those blessings. Write them down, record them, create this journal that you can reflect upon and someday share with others to say, there is so much to be grateful for. I'm so happy for things. This is something that I have overlooked, but I have to express gratitude for. And in that process, you will be a happier, better person that can bless those around you. And whether it be personally or professionally, be successful. Why? Because you're able to see the optimism, the potential, the opportunity in everything around you. So with that, remember this: business success is universal. Accounting success is universal, but happiness is universal. Take care. Have a great day. Definitely take some time to listen to the other episodes, subscribe to the podcast, and for more information on how you can apply these principles, check out Universal Accounting School. You can reach us at universalaccountingschool.com or give us a phone call at 801-265-3777. We have a number of coaches that actually work with individuals like yourself to apply these principles to do so much more than what I've even shared today, so that you can actually work on your business and, in fact, be that person you need to be to grow your business. So with that in mind, do take care. Have a great day. And always remember this: you can be in business for yourself, but not by yourself with Universal Accounting Center. Take care.